So for tomorrow, paper 3, Selangor Form 4 final exam paper 3, the experiments very high chance will be the this experiment oxide or period 3. Then you need to put inside soda hydroxide and nitric acid. So I roughly go through the experiment with you. Okay, so we analyze what you're going to get tomorrow. That first, based on this diagram, you have a Bunsen burner. Okay. After that, you have a measuring cylinder here, and then you have a dropper. Dropper is for you to find. Let's say you want to measure 2 cm cube. That means add few drop until the line exactly in line with the Manicus mark. Okay, so this is the idea. After that, you have 6 test tube here. After that, you have two glass straw to stir. Then after that, you have a test tube holder. Then you have what we call the you might have a glove, then have a goggle to make sure that no accident, protect the eye. Then you are given some unknown chemical. So this unknown chemical is oxide of period 3. Oxide of period 3. So what is the idea of this experiment is, okay, let's say example, if tomorrow the chemical name are given, okay, if given, then you get magnesium oxide, then silicon oxide, and aluminum oxide. After that, you will have nitric acid and sodium hydroxide. One is acid, one is alkaline. Okay, this is the experiment. They'll give you the procedure that fill in half spatula of magnesium oxide powder into 2 different boiling tube. Then add 5 cm cube of the sodium hydroxide solution, follow the instruction. Then add 5 cm cube of nitric acid into the second boiling tube. Heat both boiling tube gently. Gently means you don't heat until it boil and flash out. So you just make sure that it's what we call the you heat up a little bit, slightly warm is enough already. Okay. Then after that, observe the solubility. Okay, for this experiment, you need to be careful. It might be a mistake here. Try not to add too much of the powder in. Let's say maybe add 1/4 of the spatula enough, just slightly enough. Don't add too much, because if this is nitric acid, right, magnesium oxide supposed to soluble into the water. It's supposed to soluble into the nitric acid, but if you add too much, it might not able to dissolve everything. Means at the time you start there, you're not sure it's soluble or not soluble. Like, oh, suppose it's soluble, but it dissolve half. The other half, because you add too much. So try to add less. Don't add too much. Okay. After that, one more thing. Soluble means what? The solution will turn into totally colorless. Zero. There's no color, no white color. If you see still got some white color there, right? That is mean not soluble. Because what you add in is powder. So we add powder into the water, right? When it cannot dissolve, the solution will turn into a bit like lime water turn cloudy, it means it's not soluble. But if soluble, you will see transparency, like colorless solution. Okay. Okay, so for tomorrow, right? Okay, based on the it might have 2 chemical given to you or 3 chemical given to you. Okay, so we discuss about 3 chemical. You have to refer to the question. If they ask for observation only, please construct the table until here. If they ask for inference, only add this one. Okay, so okay, nitric acid is an acid, sodium hydroxide is an alkaline. Okay, so magnesium oxide is dissolved, then this is insoluble. So for magnesium oxide, it can react with the acid. Sorry, what you see is white powder dissolved to form color solution. Then alkaline cannot, so no visible change. The white powder do not dissolve. So inference is explained why. It can react with acid, means it is a basic oxide. So we can conclude this is a basic oxide. Then for silicon oxide, right, it cannot react acid, but it can react with the sodium hydroxide, which is alkaline. So white powder dissolved to form color solution, means it can react alkaline only, acid no reaction, so it means that it's a acidic. After that, for aluminum oxide, right? Aluminum oxide is it can dissolve in both. Means it can react with both acid and alkaline. Means aluminum oxide is amphoteric. Amphoteric oxide means it has both basic and acidic property. So this is the one that you need to know. Okay, for main variables, first of tomorrow, right, manipulative variables, you can write type of oxide or period 3, then magnesium oxide, aluminum oxide, and silicon oxide. You want to write here also can, you want to write this also can, you want to write both also can. Then responding variables, you write solubility oxide in nitric acid and sodium hydroxide solution. Then for the fixed variables will be volume of nitric acid and sodium hydroxide solution. Okay, based on the experiment, magnesium oxide and nitric acid, give one observation. So this is what you write, the oxide, after that dissolve into this one. When it dissolve, the inference is because magnesium oxide is a basic oxide that can dissolve. Okay, operational definition, this is what is the idea that for the first part, right, is what you observe, what you can see. We call observation, what you can see. How do you know is basic oxide or it has basic property? Means the oxide powder were able to dissolve in nitric acid. It shows that it's basic. Then behind is what you do. We call that simple procedure. Simple procedure is roughly explain what do you do in the experiment. Then when the oxide powder is added into a boiling tube, which contain heated nitric acid, and stir with glass straw. Then for acidic, how do you know? For the oxide will dissolve into sodium hydroxide, which is alkaline. Then what you do, when you put inside a boiling tube which contains sodium hydroxide and stir with glass straw. Then for amphoteric, right, you're able to dissolve both sodium hydroxide solution and also can dissolve in nitric acid. So when the oxide powder is added to two boiling tubes which contain heated sodium hydroxide and nitric acid respectively using a stir with glass straw. Okay, what is the hypothesis? Okay, hypothesis need to refer to the aim of the experiment. If you look at the aim of the experiment, is to study the change of the chemical properties of oxide across the period tree. So you have to explain now. So based on that, oxide or period tree change from basic oxide, which is your magnesium oxide, to amphoteric oxide, which is your aluminum oxide, and acidic oxide, which is the silicon oxide. Means that in your period tree, left-hand side is basic, middle is amphoteric, and then the last will be the acidic. Okay. After that, they'll ask you, what do you expect if you replace with the sodium oxide? So sodium oxide memang can react with nitric acid. So what is the expected observation? You will see white powder dissolve into the heated acid to form colorless solution. Then it shows that the reason why, because sodium oxide is a basic oxide that react with the nitric acid. Okay, then after that here, for basic oxide is all the metal oxide, like sodium is a metal, so metal oxide is metal oxide is basic oxide, so sodium is a metal, so it's basic oxide. Non-metal oxide like sulfur, phosphorus, chlorine will be acidic oxide. So non-metal oxide will be the acidic oxide. Okay, why both boiling tube heated gently? Now, if, like example, if you put milk powder into the cold water, very hard to dissolve, man. So if you put milk powder into warm water, it'll be easier to dissolve. So you need to heat the acid or the alkaline gently, a little bit hot enough, then only start to stir them to make sure that they can dissolve or cannot dissolve. Okay, so this idea, to increase the rate of reaction, the higher the temperature of the nitric acid and sodium hydroxide, the higher the rate of reaction. So for tomorrow, right, if they give you unknown, means the chemical name is not given. Let's say they give you oxide X, oxide Y, and oxide Z, right? In this case, everything the same. The only difference is we won't know who is amphoteric. So you check the result. Lor. If so it's unknown. I don't know X, Y, Z, who is that? So for X, right, it can dissolve in acid, cannot dissolve in alkaline, can react in acid, so it's basic. If both can react, then it's amphoteric. You have to check, see what is the results. Then if cannot dissolve in acid, can dissolve in alkaline, means it's acidic. Everything the same. Here also, type of oxide, then oxide X, oxide Y, and oxide Z. The rest will be the same. The volume is fixed. After that, definition is the same. So everything is the same. And then here, So for metal oxide, who is metal? Sodium is metal, calcium is metal, lithium is metal. So all that is basic oxide. Then sulfur, carbon, chromium is non-metal, so it's acidic oxide. Okay, so based on the diagram, right? Okay, the problem here is from the picture, we have 6 test tube. After that, it might ask one more question because for two chemical 6 test tube, one of the chemical is sodium hydroxide, one of the chemical is nitric acid. There might be possible to ask you whether it can dissolve in water or not. So you need to know that sodium oxide can dissolve in water, magnesium oxide can dissolve in water, aluminum oxide is not soluble in water, and silicon 4 oxide also not soluble in water. So this is the result that you need to know. So if you conclude the result here, if we add in water here, so magnesium oxide will dissolve, aluminum oxide will be cannot dissolve, silicon oxide will be cannot dissolve. So that's all. Good luck for tomorrow, exam paper 3.